One thing people keep saying, did she have a duty to retreat? Now, under Florida law, that's not the main question. Florida stand your ground law generally removes the duty to retreat when a person is lawfully present in not engaging in criminal activity. She had a legal right to be in Walmart, so the law doesn't require her to run away before defending herself. But that doesn't end the case. Stand your ground doesn't automatically justify shooting somebody because they're running up on you. It doesn't mean you can shoot somebody just because they're yelling and walking towards you, refusing to listen to your instructions. You're not the police. Shout out to RS1, or making you uncomfortable. The real question is whether she reasonably believed deadly force was immediately necessary to prevent death or great bodily harm. That means investigators are going to focus on the facts, not just the phrase stand your ground. You understand? And under Florida law, the question isn't whether a woman had a duty to retreat. The Florida stand your ground statute removed that duty to retreat. Okay? But again, that does not conclude anything. Now, the other thing is I hear a lot of folks saying the race issue. A lot of black people are saying the stand your ground only protects white defendants or black defendants are routinely denied the defense. And in the context of the racial game we play, shout out to Frozen 6, in the context of this game that we play here in America about race, in other words, what they're saying, the black people, what black folk are saying, is that the referees are bought off and they're cheating for the other side. That's what they're saying. That said, there's empiric data and studies that overwhelmingly suggest that racial disparities in the criminal justice system are prevalent. Okay? And they also have research that says that there are disparities in how self-defense claims are evaluated, and that there have also been black defendants who have successfully asserted self-defense or stand your ground. Okay? Whether race affects outcome in any individual case can't be assumed without examining the specific facts that prosecutors, decisions, judges, rulings, juries, and evidence are presented. You see? We don't know yet. They didn't even arrest the woman. She's clearly black. So what does that tell you? Looks like they think it's a prima facie case of self-defense, and she might have an immunity claim. I'm not saying they won't arrest her later. I'm just saying as of right now, somebody type right now. You don't know, but you're so hell-bent on playing the race game, just like the white people. The white people are playing, the black people are playing. This is what we do. Okay? Now, of course, the first time any of you all ever heard of stand your ground was the George Zimmerman, Trayvon Martin. I know this is a touchy subject. It's still touchy. It's right up there with OJ. I get it. Okay? I get it. It's all in the comments. Legally, every self-defense case turns on the facts. And a prior acquittal doesn't establish that another defendant will or should receive the same result. Now, listen to this. Let's start with this. Okay? And I'm going to talk about Zimmerman in a minute. And this is something that I've dealt with before. Somebody type proportionate. Because I notice people are saying something that they need to listen to. When we talk about self-defense and proportionality, okay? A person may use deadly force before being struck if they reasonably believe they're about to suffer imminent death or great bodily harm. The law doesn't require waiting until the first punch. However, fear alone isn't enough. The belief must be one a reasonable person would hold under the circumstances based on the information currently available. I don't think anyone can reasonably say that this woman is clearly guilty or clearly justified without all the facts. There are too many facts that remain unknown. You understand what I'm saying? There's too many facts that remain unknown. Now, when we talk about Zimmerman, we have to deal with it because it's happened in Florida. There's a lot of George Zimmerman comparisons because this is where the stand your ground law became famous or infamous in the public imagination. And a lot of people are saying, well, George Zimmerman shot Trayvon Martin. Trayvon Martin was unarmed. Zimmerman was armed and Zimmerman was acquitted. So that sets the precedent that an armed person can shoot an unarmed person and claim self-defense. That's not what Zimmerman case stands for. George Zimmerman's acquittal doesn't create a broad rule that an armed person can shoot an unarmed person during any confrontation in Florida, and it doesn't create a rule that Florida law ignores proportionality, reasonableness of facts. Okay, so here's the legal question. All right, well, let me say this. The facts in Zimmerman are very different. The legal question was, what was happening at the moment? Somebody type moment. At the moment Zimmerman shot Trayvon Martin. At the moment, according to the defense theory, the key trial testimony, Zimmerman was on his back. Trayvon Martin was on top of him. The witness, Jonathan Good, testified that the person on top was straddling the person on the bottom and striking him ground and pound style, hitting his head on the pavement or about to. And he identified that person as Trayvon Martin as the person on top of Zimmerman and Zimmerman on the bottom. That fact pattern allowed the jury, that's what the jury considered. So you got somebody on top of you, right? So again, ground and pound style, hitting you in your head, about to bash your head into the pavement. Trayvon Martin was unarmed, right? Because this is what people have said. Well, Trayvon Martin was unarmed. So Zimmerman should automatically lost his self-defense. That's not how self-defense law works. As an unarmed person can still inflict great death, great bodily harm. If someone is on top of you, punching you and bashing your head or creating a reasonable fear in your mind that you're about to suffer serious injury, then a rational jury could conclude that deadly force was legally justified, even if the other person doesn't have a gun or knife. If you fall down and hit your head on the concrete, you could die. That's why in the martial arts, the first thing we teach people is break fall. That's the first thing you learn, how to break fall. They got a back break fall, side break fall, other side break fall. They got a forward break fall, how to break your fall, because you want to keep that noggin on top of your head from hitting the concrete, because the minute that happens, you might black out. So imagine you got somebody on top of you, hitting you on your head, forcibly about to bash your head into the concrete. The jury heard that. How many of you all think that could give rise to great bodily harm? How many of you all think that getting your head, or let me reverse. How many of you all don't think that getting your head bashed into the concrete would have a reasonable person believe, I better do something now or I'm going to die? I'm just asking. Okay, this is what the witness said. This is what the witness said. He clearly had lost the fight. He was on his back, okay, about to get his head bashed into the ground. What was he supposed to do? Let him kill him? Would you let somebody kill you? I'm just asking you all. Okay, so he has his pistol on him and he shot him. One bullet. You understand what I'm saying? So again, that doesn't mean Zimmerman was morally right. He shouldn't have followed Trayvon Martin. Doesn't mean the encounter should have happened. It was clearly stupid. Okay, but it also doesn't mean people were wrong to be angry about the case either. But in the criminal law, the final moments, that's the same principle we have to apply here. What was happening in that moment? Not what led up to it. Not what happened. You know, he was fine. Where was at that moment? What was going on? And the question you have to ask yourself, if somebody was bashing your head into the concrete, forget all that happened beforehand. You just gonna let them kill you, or you gonna pull your pistol and put one in them? You have to ask yourself that. And the jury asked themselves that, and they said a reasonable person would use deadly force to defend their life, and that's why that man was acquitted, whether you like it or not. Now, again, let's not forget the overarching question. The question isn't how stupid you are to shoot someone in the parking spot, over a park spot. And the question is not how stupid could you be, have to fight over a parking spot in a Walmart parking lot. Again, the bottom line is a parking space dispute shouldn't end with a dead man. That's not normal. The question, but the question is whether at the exact moment that this woman fired, she was reasonable. Did she reasonably believe deadly force was immediately necessary to prevent death or great bodily harm? That's the issue.